What's going on, folks? It's Pastor Hassan. It's Friday morning and it's Friday devotional time. And so this Sunday, Lord willing, we're going to be looking at this idea from Psalm 27 of trusting the Lord or leaning on the Lord. And I really love that picture, that imagery of leaning as a picture of trust. If you think about if you lean on something, you better be sure that whatever you're leaning on can hold you up, or else you're going to go crash into the ground. And really we're told to lean on the Lord as his people. And we can do that knowing that he's rock solid, dependable. And I want to think specifically on Sunday, or at least part of what we'll think about is this connection between trust and thankfulness. Like if you can trust the Lord, you know he's shown himself to be trustworthy in the past, and you can be confident that he'll continue to be trustworthy in the future. That's something to be thankful for. And so we're going to spend some time thinking about those things on Sunday. But just ahead of that, I wanted to look at a well-known set of verses from Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs 3, verses 5 to 7. And this is what God's word says there. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. I actually snuck in an extra verse. I'm sure that's okay. So I read verse 8 as well. But we know these verses, and these verses in one sense are very familiar and easy in the sense that it's, oh yeah, I need to trust the Lord. But then actually doing that is a completely different thing. To trust in the Lord with all your heart. Like we trust the Lord for some things, and then others we're not so sure. We look to other things. We trust ourselves and we say, okay, God, you handle the big stuff. All this other thing, these other smaller things, I got that. But we're called to trust the Lord with all of our hearts, with everything that we have. And you see this imagery in these verses again of leaning, and lean not on your own understanding. And that's not to suggest that God has given us mental capacities and abilities and discernment, and we have the Spirit, and so we can understand a fair bit. But what this verse is saying is that we ought not to, that ought not to be our first line of defense. So I'm sizing up a situation, and I'm gonna just, as I see it, this is what I think is best. This is what I think is right. And rather than doing that, what we're called to is to constantly be filtering everything that we see, everything that we think through what God says in His Word, so so His way of seeing things and His perception of life is how we're viewing everything. And that's so crucial. That's so crucial for us. So because there's going to be times when things that we think are right don't necessarily square with what God says in His Word. And anytime what we think is right doesn't match what God thinks is right, He wins that battle every time, or He ought to. It doesn't always work that way practically. Sometimes we have to learn the hard way that His ways are better. But the fact of the matter is, we're to lean not on our own understanding, because ultimately the Lord's ways are better. So we trust in Him with all of our hearts, even when things don't exactly make sense to us in our own understanding, and we lean on Him for everything. It says, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths. If you've seen some of these award shows or whatever, just pick one: music, movies, television shows. There's always a long list of thank yous where the person who wins the award is now going to acknowledge, okay, people who've helped them out. Oh, I should say thank you to these people. I should acknowledge them and their contributions to my success or whatever. And this is not the picture that's presented to us there, like where we, okay, yeah, God got me through this, I'm going to acknowledge him. That certainly should be the case. We ought to do that. But in acknowledging him in all of our ways, it's like everything that I do, every decision that I make, every plan that I devise is going to be, I'm going to acknowledge him. So I'm not just like thinking purely of me and this is what I want, this is what I think. I'm okay, what does God want in this situation? How can I bring him the most glory? How can I be satisfied in him? How can I help other people to see him? That's what it means to acknowledge him in all of our ways. In everything that we do in our lives, it ought to be shaped by God and what he thinks and how it's going to reflect on him, and as I said, how we can display him to others. That's what it means to acknowledge him in all our ways. And as we do that, we have this promise, this assurance that he will make our paths straight. Like he's going to be with us. He's going to take care of us. And that doesn't mean I say this just about every time, like saying that God is going to take care of us does not mean that things will never go wrong. It means that even when things do go wrong, like we're good. He's holding us down. He's for us and not against us. He's taking care of us. Nothing will ultimately shake us. Not even death can ultimately shake us because we belong to the Most High God. And so the way these verses end, you have this other encouragement in verse 7, be not wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. So the same kind of thing, like don't trust in your own understanding, don't rely on yourself to sort of figure out the way that life works. Shun evil, stay away from things that don't please God, pursue him and fear the Lord. And it will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. He uses this language of like physical well-being to describe the benefits of fearing the Lord, trusting in him, not leaning on your own understanding, but like wholeheartedly trust in the Lord. It's good for the soul to do that. So if you imagine, like if your stomach is in knots and your head is just spinning because you're racked with anxiety about this or that, it's good for the soul. It's like medicine for your bones to trust in the Lord and to not be wise in your own eyes, but rather to fear him and to shun evil. And so, brothers and sisters, let's trust in the Lord together. Where we're struggling to trust the Lord, let's be honest about that. Like all of us have been there, and let's encourage one another. And let's believe based on who God has revealed himself to be, that he is absolutely and totally trustworthy, no matter what we're going through. Okay, so God bless y'all. Have a good Friday, and be praying ahead of Sunday. And Lord willing, I'll see you then. Otherwise, take care and love y'all.